Good afternoon, financial algebra. We are going to be covering 8.2, which covers stock market data. So I wanted to go over some vocabulary or things that you're going to see. There in the tables we're going to be evaluating, there's this CHG symbol, and that represents the change in price from one day to another. The open means that's the first price of the trading business day. Last is the price of the last trade. This doesn't include after hours trading. So like midnight, 1 in the morning. And this is super important because this is what we're going to be having to calculate is the closing price. Is your last price minus any change that occurred from one day to the next. And then a formula we're going to be using a lot today is a percent change. Now this can be a percent increase or percent decrease. It's a review from Algebra 1, but it's the change in the amounts divided by the old amount. Okay, so we are going to do quite a few that look just like the ones in your homework. So please use my notes. Feel free to use them for your homework. So part A, so here is, this is the same share, meaning same company, Discovery Group. And these is the data a week apart, right? That's 7 days apart, so a week apart. And it's going to ask us questions. So part A, what was the difference between the high and low prices on October 20th? So for part A, they're simply wanting the difference here. So 40.10 minus 36.77, and that will give you the difference. So if you calculate that, I got a difference of $3.33. Part B, on October 27th, what was the actual volume of Discovery group shares posted? So we're going to calculate volume. So part B, October 27th, it says sales in the 100s. And so that, I'm kind of color coding this for you. So 23,600, but this is sales in 100. So you're multiplying by 100. And sometimes it'll say sales in 1,000, sales in 10,000, and we'll go over that in more detail. But you're multiplying the amount times, like this is shorthand. They didn't want to, maybe it doesn't fit in the box. So 23,600 times 100, that is 2,360,000, and that represents the number of shares posted. Okay. All right, at what price did the Discovery Group close? Notice it says on October 19th. And so they're wanting us to calculate the closing price. And so remember, close is the last minus your change. And so I'm looking at October 20th, right? That would be the day before. So I'm looking at the last minus our change. So I have 38.50 minus the change, and it's a positive change, meaning it went up from yesterday. So 38.50 minus 1.56, and I get that the last price on the 19th must have been 36.94. Okay. Now, use the October 9th closing price, so 36.94, and the October 20th opening price, 37.22, to calculate the percent increase. So here's how we're going to calculate percent increase. Find the difference, and that's what I should put, difference. It's the difference, in amounts divided by your original. So I'm going to find the difference. So my percent increase will equal 37.22. That's the new amount minus the old amount, divided by the original amount. And the original amount from yesterday, from the 19th, was 36.94. And so I'm going to enter that in my calculator. And I got 0.00758. They said to round to the nearest hundredth percent. So remember, we move our decimal 2 places. So 0.76, that's the hundredth place percent. So less than 1% change. Next part, on October 21st, Discovery Group announced that they were going to close one of their manufacturing plants. This resulted in a drop in their stock price, and it closed at $32. Express this net change from October 20th to the 21st as a percent. So, October 20th, my close was, my last trading price was $38.50. So $38.50 was the last on 10/24. Oh, sorry, on October 20th. And they're telling me it closed on the 21st at 32. So I'm going to find the difference and then divide it by the original, the 38.50. So if I enter this, I get 0.1688. So it decreased by 16.9%. Part F, on October 28th, they announced they would not be closing the plant. This news caused their price to rise to $48.20. Express the net change from October 27th to the 28th. So October 27th, the last was 42. Whoops. And I'm going to put this down here. So part F, 48.20 minus 42, and 42 is the last price for October 27th. Okay. And so I'm going to divide that by the original, and I get 0.1476, so 14.8%. And they might just want, sorry, the net change, I'm sorry. For part F, the net change is just 48.20 minus the 42, which is 6.2, and it increased. So it would be a positive 6.2 for part F. G, explain why the 52-week highs and lows are the same number. So 52 weeks, that's a whole year. So they're saying in the last 52 weeks, this was the highest and this was the lowest. So like, why would that be the same? Simply put, these are the same stock. So it's comparing the same data. Part H. It's asking us 1 year earlier, one share closed at 30% higher than that amount. So examine the closing price of October 27th. So the closing, remember, is our last minus the change. And so the last on October 27th was 42 minus the change, which was 150, and I can highlight, and I'll put that here. So 42 minus 150, the closing would be 40 and 50 cents. This would be the closing. And so this is saying one share closed at 30% higher than that amount. So what is 40.50 times 0.30? And then you would add that back to the 40.50. And so that gives us 40.50 times 0.3 plus 40.50, and I get 52.65. And so this is part H. All right, moving on. So there is a problem in your homework that has you calculate volume, and I wanted to go over each one. So if it says write the volume using complete numerals. So they want us to calculate the volume, and I'm going to multiply by whatever they tell us our sales are notated in. So if my sales are in 100s, then I'm multiplying this by 100. So to put it simply, you're just going to move the zero, you're just going to add 2 zeros. So 8, 2, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. That's the shortcut for multiplying by 100. The sales in 1,000s, I'm simply multiplying by 1,000. So I'm adding 3 zeros. So 12, 8, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. But you could also just use your calculator if you don't believe me. This times 100,000, right? I'm adding 5 zeros. So 35,495. I'm moving that decimal over 3 places and adding 2 zeros. But again, you can use your calculator. So that's 3 billion. So you would simply multiply by the number they've stated. Now, if they ask you to recalculate your volume or to rewrite it, you have to multiply it and then divide it by the amount they're wanting you to write it in. So for part D, this says by 100. So I'm going to do 321.78 and I'm going to multiply it by 100. But then to convert it to thousands, I'm going to have to divide by 1,000. So 321.78 times 100 divided by 1,000, and I get 32.178. And this is going to help us do the last couple problems. So part E, first I have to calculate the actual volume. So I'm going to multiply 6478.98. I'm going to multiply that by 10,000, but then to put it in sales in 1,000s, I'm going to then divide. So you multiply to find volume, then divide it by whatever figure they want you to put it in. So 6478.98 times 10,000 divided by 1,000 is 64,789.8. So 64,000. The last one, right, I'm going to multiply. First I have to calculate my volume, so I'm multiplying by 100,000, and then I will divide by 1,000 to put this in terms of 1,000. So 3.2 times 100,000 divided by 1,000, and I get 320 shares. Now moving on, the rest has to do with the ability to write formulas. And so I'm going to go over that with you because it is in your homework. And so we're going to do formulas for each part. Now they're going to mention use the left side of the equation to indicate which cell to store the formula. So you're going to put the destination first. So I'm going to go over each type. So write a formula that will convert the volume given in 100s into a volume given in 1,000. So this kind of covers what we just did. So for part 3, for Juniper, Kansas, here's Juniper, Kansas. And I'm going to go over to the volume. In 100s is here, but they want volumes in 1,000. So that's cell H5. And it will equal what we just did earlier. So I'm going to take the volume listed in 100, so G5, and I'm going to times that, so you'll use the multiplication symbol, by 100, and then I'm going to have to divide by 1,000. Now, you could enter this, but you could also enter, I could simplify this, 100 over 1,000. If I reduce that by 100, I get 1 over 10. So you could also put G5 divided by 10. So either of these formulas would work, but make sure that on the left you have the H5, the destination cell. So either of these formulas will work. This obviously would be a lot easier to enter in your homework, right? So now let's move on to Detroit Energy. So that is here. And they want volumes in 1,000. So this is H3. You always list column first. So H3 equals, okay, volume in 100. So this is G3 times 100 divided by 1,000. Now, you could also enter, remember, 100 over 1,000. The zeros, these two zeros cancel, and you're left with 1 over 10. So I could just enter H3 equals G3 divided by 10. Okay, that would be a lot easier. But it's up to you how you want to do this. All right, part 4. Write a formula that will store the exact volume in each stock in column L. So I'm going to color code this orange. So Valley Windmill is down here. And I don't have a column L, but I know that Valley Windmill is in row 9. So L9 will equal, and then you can use really either cell, I guess, but in this case they gave us volumes in the 1,000s. So it would be the volume, H9, and it says volume in the 1,000s, so I would then just put the multiplication symbol in 1,000. So that is what you would enter for your homework. So let's go to middle network. So sorry, I used that. Middle network is in row 6. So L6 equals, and in this case, I don't know H6, so I'm going to use a G, because that's what they gave me. And it says volume in 100, so I would then put times 100. So 2637, whoops. We don't want to use numbers, we want to use cells. So this is G6 times 100. Okay. Number 5. Write, and I'll color code this one green to show you the boxes I'm using. Write a formula to determine the close on August 20th for each one. Remember, our close equals last minus our change. Okay? So the close, August 20th close for Southern Texas. So Southern Texas, here's August 20th close. I hope you can see that. August 20th close, Southern Texas. So I am F8 equals the last. So that would be the last, 54. This is Southern Texas, so that is C8 minus the change, which is D8. And that is it for that one. Now let's go to Price Queen resellers. So Price Queen, here they are. So the close, this is an F7. equals C7 minus D7. So please feel free to use this for your homework. We have 2 more problems and then we're done today. So I have write a formula to determine the percent change for each of the following. All right, so the percent change is going to be a little bit more complicated. So, let's start with the ABC company. So here's ABC, okay? I'm going to do the change, right? Divided by the close, and that will give me my percent change. So I'm going to recall that. D2 divided by F2. Oh, sorry. What box are we wanting? The destination will be E2 equals D2 divided by F2. But that's going to give me a decimal. In order to make it a percent, I have to times it by 100. So this right here converts to a percent. But this would be what you would type in for your homework. GHI. So GHI, remember I'm wanting the percent change. So I'm going to do the change divided by the close the day before. So E4 equals D4 divided by F4 times 100. All right, last one. Calculate the net change. So I'm going to color code this one in purple. So the net change, and this is for, M and O. So I'm again on M and O. The net change would simply be the difference between the August 21st last and the close. And net change is in box D6. So D6 equals the, what's it called? Last minus the previous day's close, which would be F6. So for VWX is here. The net change would be C9 minus F9. So D9 equals C9 minus F9. Phew! So that is the formulas for that. I hope this helps you do your assignment. If you have any questions, let me know.